Trustee Belendis here. Trustee Santangelo.
Here.
Trustee Segura.
Yeah, you are.
He didn't announce that as committee, but he's not on the committee, but he's here present. He'll be
Oh.
noted in the notes as present at the meeting.
Okay, we have a quorum. Let's see, do we have any public comments?
I'm sorry, Trustee Fosk was on the finance committee, right?
Yes.
Oh,
You gotta call
the other
his-
members that are present is Trustee Fosco,
No, he's on the committee.
Yeah, he's
but he's present.
present.
Yes.
I thought you switched me, Mike.
No.
Okay, we have a
So
quorum.
everybody who's on the committee is here, so if there's any motions or votes, that's who votes.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're a guest, you can't.
All right.
All right, public comments? And
None.
director's comments?
None.
Okay, unfinished business, we need the approval of the April 14th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right, motion carries.
You have votes. You have to vote.
Oh,
You just say all in favor.
or all in
You just had
favor?
a motion and a second, but we haven't had a vote yet, so somebody has to, so just say, the minutes, you don't have to do a roll call, you say all in favor, and everyone who's in favor says aye, any opposed,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
any opposed?
any opposed?
No.
No.
Motion passed.
Okay, motion carries. New business?
Okay. In everybody's packet, I've highlighted what is included. Now, I've given you a cheat sheet, which starts with the word before reviewing. It's a summary of everything that's in the book, but I want you to understand what is in the package that I gave you, because there's a lot of good information on it that you can learn about the whole process. And I've given you the full packet of the budget from the library's viewpoint. And then, again, I added the EP, the process, the budget process that we follow, so you have a better understanding of that. And then the procedures that we're required to follow. And then I wanted to explain the levy process. Good luck reading it, because it's the most confusing thing that there is, because what we appropriate this year, we're only gonna get half of it in a year from now. So it's difficult, but I think I laid it out that it's a little bit easier with you with numbers. I did provide something that's really interesting, and it's an analysis where our tax rate code is compared to other libraries. And what you've seen is that we're the 9th lowest out of the 39 libraries. And the village is somewhere around 18th, 19th on their tax rates. So you have that available. And then I provided an executive summary and then the appropriation view. But the notes that I've given you that I just spoke about, the document that I said before reviewing the membership looks like this. I put in your package. We can go through that briefly so you could see some of the caveats and the variances. You might have questions on it. But what I want to tell you, we haven't had the meeting with the village, so this is a preliminary meeting, and next month we will have another budget meeting, because after discussing the budget, this budget with the village, they might request us to make some changes. So right now, I'm going to go through the comparison, but the first thing I want to tell you that included in this budget, which is very important, is replacement costs for the director. Okay, the reason for that is, again, it's the timing on the appropriation. If I should something happen, if I get sick or anything, next year's budget will not include enough money. So what we want to do is appropriate for the following year. So we've identified that, and I'll go into greater detail the positions and that for that. So we're actually asking for a $561,000 increase, but of that, $390,080 something dollars is the variance, is the amount for the salary replacement. Okay, so the overall appropriation budget from last year to this year is 6.3%. And basically that amount, we're going up 203,000 from the prior year, but we've already identified that 360,000 is for the additional positions that would have to be a replacement for me. And if you turn to the second page, it gets in a little bit more finer detail by line item, and you can see that we're going down in some of the categories. You know, donations, we just don't see any donations. Interest income is down because we don't have all our tax dollars. So usually we would get somewhere around 20,000, and unfortunately we're hoping to get at least 12,000 this year. Miscellaneous grants have stayed even. There's about 3 grants on my desk that I'm working on. One of them is the legislative. The fourth thing is the business fund transfer. Our business fund is deleted, and what that consists of is our reserve dollars plus the expenses to run the building. So what it means is, just like in the past, the maintenance of the building will be run out of the general fund. Everything gets run out of the general fund, except some small grant dollars. Is there any questions to this point? Anything? So again, we're going up 203,000 on an appropriation basis. You have to appropriate before you can get the money. So example, if we didn't appropriate for grant money and somebody gave us grant money, we would have a problem there. Tom, I really don't know if that case has ever come up.
What's that, Mike?
If something's not appropriated, you exceed the appropriation, or something's not appropriated, and you use the money on the income side. I don't know if there's ever been any cases, because most of the revenues take a period of time to receive. Like we've been appropriating for the funds that we're supposed to receive from 3 years ago. So hopefully this year we will see that, and that will go toward the building expenses. Again, I started to break down the expenses, and that you're seeing that our salaries, basically for our existing staff, are going down 13,000. But this also, the budget reflects the salary increases that will be realized in the upcoming year. So if you look at it objectively, our salaries are going down, and we're maintaining the expenses. All right. The administrative replacement cost, again, is the 390,082 that I talked about. Program and materials, which is the lifeline of what we do, and that's books and programs. We're going to see a little bit of an increase, 13,000. Technology services is flatline. And again, the building operations is the building fund, and both net each other to zero. But we're seeing a decline in that of $170,000. So overall, our expense budget's going up 203,000, which 390 of it is attributed to the salary. So if you look at it overall, we're going down in our expenses from one year to the next. The next pages, I've kind of broken it out for you. What's interesting is there are benchmarks and key performance indicators for these categories, and our personnel cost of 67% is about in line. So everything else is basically a small percentage, and it's pretty consistent in municipalities and libraries. If you go further on, I kind of illustrate some of the changes in our philosophy. We use a need-based budgeting approach, and that's a little bit different than what goes on in a lot of municipalities and libraries. What that means is we start with actually what we need. We don't go from one year to the next and increase it just by a percentage, a legal percentage. We look at each line item, and that's important. And that's why we're showing a minimum increase from one year to the next. Again, we review our operational needs, our service demand, and our staffing requirements. We're not increasing any individuals. So other than that, we identified people for replacements. And when we look at the budget versus appropriation, we seem to be in line, and it appears that we represent the amount that we're going to spend. So the overall on the revenue, as I went through, you can see what the real estate taxes are, and it all ties out. We have again, I'll talk at the board meeting about the P&G grant that we received, but we also have included the per capita grant, and then the replacement tax from the business, and again the interest income. I think the next thing, and the only thing here is, I want the board to know that we do our best efficiently and work with fewer resources than what our peers do. And that's evident by the amounts that we receive in tax dollars versus other comparable libraries. Personnel costs reflect the staff needs to deliver the services and programs. We've reduced staff the past year, and several operational costs declined due to the completion of the improvements that we made in the building. And I'll probably talk a little bit more at the board meeting on that. Our programming and technology services, we still continue. And I'll talk about that later, but I can tell you that last year we served about 25,000 residents or people attending the programs, and we're about at that same amount. And that's about the best that we can do with the amount of space that we have right now. And again, we maintain one of the lowest tax rates, and that's what's important from the residents' perspective. Because in the back of my mind, when I'm doing this, we have responsibility to the taxpayers, and that's the important thing from day one. If you remember, one of the comments that I made, because it's the same taxpayers. It's the same thing I had shareholder values concern about. If you remember, Chris, Trustee Pesco, when we talked about salary, I said to you, I'll take $5,000 less than the previous director, and I'll waive my $20,000 medical expense to save the village money. So I am paying right now $16,000 out of my pocket for medical, but that was my decision. So I just want you to understand the methodology here is no different. And one of the things that was talked about, I had a couple of residents come in, and they had discussions with previous candidates, and they accused the library of being run like a business. Okay, we're responsible again for taxpayers' money. We're following the rules. Doesn't matter if you're non-profit or not. You got a set of accounting rules that you have to follow. It is a business because we're watching every penny that goes out the door. I can tell you this in our budget, so in this village, the village pays for 80% of the medical insurance. There's villages that pay 90%. That 10% accounts for a lot of money when you're paying $300,000 for medical insurance. So if you think about it, the difference there is almost 1/3 of programming budget. That money. That's called fiduciary responsibility. Any questions?
No.
Okay. So what the plan is now, I will meet with the village, review the numbers. They might ask for some changes, and we'll have a meeting next month, same time, and I'll submit the budget to you for approval to the board. Submit to the board that night. I'm not having a stroke, so.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. No,
Do we know when the village meeting is? Will we present our budget at
the
the
village meeting for the village is April 10th, I believe.
Okay.
Friday the 10th. I figure we'll have a meeting in the next 5 days with the village, one-on-one. There'll be some negotiation, but I think the president and I agree that our numbers are strong, and we have the data to support them, and the metrics and the KPIs. That's what's imperative. Now, methodologies in municipalities are quite different than ours, you know. Budget to budget. I'm looking at incurred expense from the prior year to what we're going to. And, you know, we realize that there could be some tax levy problems with people not able to pay their taxes because of the additional payment and the timing of it. We still owe the village money, and we're paying that off. We're getting small amounts sent to us for last year. March 1st is, they changed it to April 1st. We should be getting our tax levy that we would be getting for this fiscal year. So we still have the holder expenses, which we have. They reduced drastically. And here, I can give you the best example of the difference between municipalities and how we look at results. Budget to budget for this past year that will end in April 30th, we're approximately $854,000 under budget. That sounds great, but it's a misleading statement because of the building fund money and the grant money we haven't received. So we're carrying the budget, but there's no offset to that budget. There's no expense. So it looks like, we're under budget basically. But when I adjust that out, we're about 200,000 under pure expense. And that's a good thing. And that should help us in our negotiation with the village because we had to hold our expenses, but, and we need to spend some money for books and some other things. It's imperative. So that's where we're at with that. Closing, I appreciate you going through all this information. I try to simplify it. Again, I said it years ago, I like to have details than a higher level. If I don't do the details, then, I don't know every penny that's on the budget. That's just the way I've been doing it for 40 years, unfortunately. But that's all I have.
All right, anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Well, there was some confusion about who's on the committee.
Yes.
So trustee Fosco is not on the committee.
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah.
And trustee Segura is on the committee.
Correct.
So the only motion that occurred was a motion to approve the minutes, and that still had 2 affirmative votes. I don't know if you want to go back and vote yes on the minutes, should we, or not. I don't think you have to, because the minutes are approved with 2 votes.
It is, but it should,
No.
the fact that I seconded the motion would negate that, because it should go back for a vote.
Okay.
My opinion.
Okay, Well, I forgot that you seconded.
I seconded
Let's-
that motion.
Let's redo a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? No. All right, motion passes.
Committees are on the
voted.
website. Check it.
You have to
All those in
ask
favor
them.
say aye.
All those in
Right.
favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No.
Now just a motion to adjourn, and you can do it the same way.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. All in favor say aye.
Aye. We're having a meeting next month.